They could trade for Xavien Howard.
Yeah, they
Here's
could.
the thing: Xavien Howard's really, really, really good,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want to play for the Dolphins anymore. And I'm sure every team in the league would like to have him. I'm sure the Niners would like to have him. And after getting a look at Tim Harris Jr. today, I mean, what an upgrade he would be over him and Mosley and Ambry Thomas and all those guys. Not to mention the fact that you really don't know what you're going to get from Jason Verrett. So, in an ideal world, yeah, obviously,
Yeah, of
is it
course.
something they can actually do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They can. Real quick, I do want to address Jeremy's comment because he paid $5 to say it. Listen, you paid $5. I know you get more characters than that. Just be a little bit more specific. You sound very Kyle Shanahan right now. He's our starter for how long? That's it. That's a lot of dots at the end. You could have filled that in with some letters.
He's the starting
Yeah.
quarterback for now.
Right now, exactly.
Right now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So,
Okay.
yeah, as far as Xavien Howard, should they trade for him? Of course they should trade for him. Can they realistically trade for him? Yeah, they can. And here's how they can do it. So, Howard right now is owed a roughly $12 million to a team that he gets traded to. I know the Niners after signing Lance only have about $10 million. Now, whoever he goes to, there's going to be an immediate restructure. So it is possible that they technically could trade for him and still keep Jimmy G. But we know for a fact, if you get rid of Jimmy G, it becomes even more feasible and a guarantee that you can afford him because you go from the salary cap situation you're in now to the most cap room in the league. So that's number one. Number two, what will he get in the trade market? Well, you've got a few things that are at play here. One is it is not the ideal time for a player to come out and say, I want out, because you're right before training camp. Draft has already happened. Free agency's already happened. You're not going to get the most from the team that is willing to trade with you. So, with that being said, and by the way, anytime a player comes out and puts it on Instagram that they want out, that's also never a good thing. So, the guy that I look at that most resembles the Xavien Howard situation is Darius Slay.
Mm-hmm.
It was around 16 months ago that Darius Slay was traded coming off of 3 Pro Bowl years, back to back to back, including a year that he was a first team All Pro, and he got traded to the Eagles for a third and a fifth.
Wow.
So that tells me that Xavien Howard, who is coming off of 2 Pro Bowl years, 2 out of the last 3 years,
he's expensive and wants a new contract.
Expensive, wants a new contract. He's 1 year younger than what Slay was at that time. Okay. I would say he's worth a second and a fourth. And the 49ers absolutely can afford to do that. And they should do it because at this point, you're all in. And there is no better situation than now knowing that Jimmy, whether it's this year, next year, what have you, is not going to be on this roster. The salary cap's going to go up. Lance is extremely cheap. The time is now to go all in. And getting a guy like Xavien Howard, to me, takes this Super Bowl window and blows it wide open, this year included. And right now, if you ask me, is this team Super Bowl ready or Super Bowl bound? No. But you add a player like Xavien Howard, yes. It is an instant yes. You've got to try to kick the tires on this. And if you can make it happen for a second and fourth, you absolutely do that, period.
Yeah, he's one of the best corners in the league. He's the kind of guy who could do a good job against DK Metcalf. I don't know if they've faced each other in the past and what's happened, but I just feel like he could hold his own.
Yeah.
And I can't say that about anyone else on the Niners. So when you talk about the Niners and what they could do next year, they got to face Seattle twice. And who's to say DK Metcalf won't go for like 400 yards and 5 touchdowns in 2 games? I don't know, because I know Emmanuel Mosley can't cover him.
Right.
And I know Tim Harris Jr. can't cover anybody. So it seems like, yeah, if it's only a second and a fourth, my only question is, can they figure it out financially? But yeah, I mean, if you extend a guy, give him a signing bonus, you can always make his salary cap number that year pretty minuscule. You can work it out, you can get creative, and Jimmy Garoppolo isn't going to be on this team forever. So yeah, it seems like these are the kind of moves you can make with a quarterback on a rookie deal. Bring in Xavien Howard, sure. Why? I mean, honestly, the Dolphins can afford him. He just doesn't want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, at this point, the relationship is scarred, right? So the other thing that we have to look at is, okay, is it ideal to go into the draft next year without your first and second rounders? Absolutely not. But if you were going to spend a second round pick, which they most likely are on a corner anyways, because chances
Yeah.
are Verrett's not going to be on this team. Mosley may not be on this team because the way that his contract is worked up, and K1's probably not going to be on this team. You're going to probably have to draft a corner and do it early. So if you're going to spend a second rounder on a corner that's unknown, why not go out and get a top 5 to 7 corner in this league right now who's proven, who you can guarantee will be on the team, and has already been a first team All Pro as recently as last year? That's a no brainer.
Waruna says, "Is Jimmy better than Kirk now?" I had Jesse wasting hard-earned money is my weakness. At least it goes to Grant. Thank you for the $5. I really appreciate it. Is Jimmy better than Kirk now? No. Here's the thing about Jimmy. He had a great practice. He can't play tackle football without getting hurt. I'm sorry, Jimmy. Burden of proof's on you. Kirk Cousins can't. Kirk Cousins absolutely can play tackle football without getting hurt. Jimmy, the reason this is all good is the Niners need to trade Jimmy before something happens to him again, meaning injury. So if he can do great in practice, that's just fabulous. If he can boost his trade value in practice, that is just the greatest thing that could ever happen. So no, he's not better than Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry.
And from a skill set standpoint, I know that
Kirk
you're
can
joking
throw
with
down the
Bruin,
field.
but yeah, Kirk's a better player, period. I mean, you're talking about a guy with a 3.5 to 1 TD to INT ratio over the last few years with completing like 67%. And he's proven it for multiple years, and he doesn't dink and dunk. He actually can move the ball down the field. Yeah, Kirk's a pretty good, not only a pretty good player, but a very underrated player in this league.
Who do you think Kyle Shanahan would pick?
Kirk Cousins, no question.
Levy says, y'all see what Jamal Adams is doing in Seattle. Howard will do the same if we trade for him. He will have the leverage.
He won't. He won't have the leverage, and I'll tell you why it's different. So the difference is Jamal Adams was an impending free agent. Okay. They decided not to extend him at the point they traded for him. That's why they're in the situation that they're in now. Howard is already doing what Jamal Adams is doing, but he's doing it on his current team. So whoever trades for him, they know that a deal has to be in place prior to that trade happening. So if they trade for him, you know that they're also going to announce a new deal, and Howard will be very happy with that deal because he just signed it.
Chris says it really benefits all parties to start Jimmy game one, get him some play time, and if he plays well, we trade him before the deadline unless he gets hurt.
That's it. That's exactly it. And you have to start the better quarterback regardless. Okay. Yeah. People have been saying, well, you can't start Lance just because he's the rookie and they spent so much on him. Well, you also can't start Jimmy just because he makes a lot of money and is a veteran. And the best quarterback has to start.
Yeah. And everyone knows that it's a business.
Yep.
Was the defense any good today? No, not really. But it was just day one. Tony says if the Niners acquire Howard and the defense stays healthy, this becomes a generational defense better than 2019. Well, a lot depends on their rookie coordinator, but yes. Yeah. Great talent, hell of a talented. And again, if the Niners want to play like this aggressive man-to-man coverage that Trey Lance is destroying right now, they're going to need some great cornerbacks. And Jason Verrett is, he's one, but Howard would be two. And now you can get away playing this style. But right now, if you have Emmanuel Mosley on the field and you go bump and run across the board, single high safety with a blitz, I mean, you don't have to be a freaking genius at quarterback to be like, okay, I'm throwing there.
Yeah.
I'm throwing at Mosley, and I know it now, and I get the ball, and it's gone, and boom, long completion down the field. That's what's going to happen. And if you have Howard and Verrett, now that quarterback's in the bind, what am I going to do? I'm going to get sacked.
Also, how good would it feel to have Mosley coming off the bench if something happens? If something happened to Verrett or Howard and they had to miss 2 games, nobody's going to panic because Mosley can come in and fill in.
Good point.
And even then, if he has to come in for, let's say, K1, I know that he can probably play that nickel spot. He did it a little bit last year. I think he can play that spot. And now you've got Ambry Thomas coming out. It's a very different scenario once you add Xavien Howard. So that's where I'm at with it.
I like that you made an official pump and dump account. That's I respect. Raymond Martinez Jr. What's up, Raymond? Says, what's up, fellas? Hypothetically, what gets a deal done with the Niners in Miami? 2nd or 4?
Second and a fourth. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'll just reiterate, Darius Slay was 1 year older, coming off of 3 consecutive Pro Bowl seasons. And I know a lot of people don't really pay attention because he's in Detroit, but he really was that good. And he got a third and a fifth. So a second and a fourth absolutely can get it done.